Today was supposed to be a no-contact day for Fred Warner.
Yeah,
Good job.
close quarters, bang bang play. He didn't. I know his intent and where his heart is. That was an accident.
How hard is that though for like a rookie coming in and you got pads on for the first time, the first few times, and you're there to make your play? You got to learn that new mindset of protect the teammate.
It's so quick. It's one of those that happens so quick for him to bounce out of it, I guess. I mean, there's a lot of plays in there where Fred actually did avoid contact where he was supposed to, but that one was just so quick and so fast that it was almost like he was bracing for contact. So it was completely accidental, and thankfully Juice is all right.
In the camp, he has been in a lot of places where he could. What kind of assurance is this giving you on how well he's doing?
That play, withstanding, he's shown physicality. He's got the right mindset. So he's just checking off he's checking off all the concerns, and for him, it's now it's time to go show it in preseason games and continue to grow and become more consistent in understanding the scheme and getting people lined up and doing all those things. So again, he's got a long way to go, but he's doing a good job checking off every box.
People would look at the role that he kind of played in coverage a lot in college and things like that and maybe assume that physicality wasn't there. Have you been surprised at all by how physical he is, or did you kind of know that was kind of lurking?
Again, it goes back to Kyle, John, Adam Peters, and Mar Mayhew. Like, there's an extreme amount of studying that goes into each and every single one of the players. And when we had Fred here on his official visit or whatever those things are, you could tell, you learn about a person's mindset. And so for us, the physicality part and him being a willing guy was never an issue. That part, no. There's a lot of studying that went into that one.
What did Fred say after the bang bang play, as you call it, with Juice? Did you talk to him?
Yeah, he was quick. I mean, he popped up. Offense was getting after him a little bit, and he was apologetic. He said, "My fault. It was unintentional. So completely unintentional. It happened, and fortunately, everyone's all right."
Do you know if they reconciled a little
Oh
bit?
yeah, no, they're fine.
Robert, with a guy like Jarek McKinnon, who's got the ability that he does as a pass catcher, how much stress does that put on a defensive play caller, and him in particular? What have you seen from him from kind of the other side of things?
It does. For us, we feel really good about our linebackers and being able to cover them and all that stuff. But as a play caller, you're almost looking at another wide receiver on the football field, a wide receiver who can carry the ball and carry it with power the way he does. So he's another dynamic football player that's got to be accounted for, and it's hard when you've got corners on receivers and safeties on tight ends, and now you've got you got a nickel on a receiver. Now here comes another one, and you've got a backer on the field. So it creates an issue, and if you try to go small, now he can go run the football. So he's a dynamic football player. He's a good football player. So it's been awesome to get to work against him. Same with Matt Breida. So it's been a good experience for all our guys.
What stood out to you as far as Jullian Taylor and why he's kind of pushing himself up there on the depth chart?
He brings an awesome mindset of physicality, violence, and effort. I mean, the guy's got unbelievable strain in his game. He's got a very, very long way to go. So I know he's getting there's a lot of love out there for him, and he's doing a great job. But he's got a long way to go to learn how to use his hands to keep separation and while maintaining his violence. But he does a very good job playing with that relentlessness that we look for. He embodies the style of play that we're trying to represent. And big men who play as relentless as he does and as violent as he does, they're hard to block no matter what their technique is. So we're excited to see him grow from a technique standpoint, because when he can piece together the technique along with the tenacity and the violence that he plays with, we're excited about what it could be. But until he gets to that level of technique, it's still a work in progress, but we're excited about where it's going.
How nice does DeForest Buckner make your life when you have a guy, the best player on your defense, gets a would-be sack on a play, and the pass still goes off and it's complete, and he's sprinting downfield to sprint to the ball, even though technically he finished the play.
Buck is he's going to be he's doing everything right. He's doing everything right. he is big, he's violent, he's agile, he's special. So as long as Buck keeps going the way he's going, he'll make noise, and he can disrupt an entire practice if he wants to. And fortunately for us, he always wants to. So he's a problem in there for offenses, and we're fortunate to have him.
When you're going over film, you know, when you're teaching young guys, this is what I expect in terms of effort, running to the football every snap, whatever. When he's doing it, you know, on plays where he gets a sack, dominates the play, and then still sprinting downfield after the football as well.
He leads by example. Earl Mitchell. There's a lot of guys. Again, going back to Kyle, John, and Adam and Martin. Again, the mindset of men that have been brought into this building with their willingness to work and do all those things. There's examples all the way across the board. So these young guys that are coming in, they can see how it's supposed to look. And so aside from Buck, you got Sherm is a guy who does that. Brock, Malcolm, the list goes on, and same thing on the offensive side of the ball. So it is great to have, especially when it's one of your better players.
You said Jullian Taylor has a ways to go. He's playing with the starters now, and if Armstead doesn't make it back by week 1, he might be playing with the starters week 1. Would you feel comfortable with that? Has he shown enough to do that?
I'm going to hold on to that one. He's still got to go through games. He's still got to go through the preseason games and show all that stuff. But his trajectory is up, you know. But as long as he maintains that violence and all that stuff, I mean, he's going in the right direction, and we can revisit it in another couple of weeks because he still has to make the team, and we'll start with that one first. And there's still a lot of games before he shows that he's ready to make this team too. So
Jimmy missed OTAs with an ankle injury. Now he's out with a hamstring injury again after missing training camp last year. I mean, what's your level of concern? I know he's maybe more familiar with the system now, having been in it for a year, but he's also changing positions. Well, where are you at with Jimmy?
Still very excited about Jimmy. He's a very, very good football player. Fortunately, I think he's going tomorrow. So the injury was more almost like precaution more than anything. He's definitely got a role on this team, and it's going to be pretty cool. So I'm excited about Jimmy because he is one of our more violent. He's one of our smartest players, and everybody in the organization loves him. So I'm not overly concerned, especially when you're dealing in camp, and he's always been a soft tissue guy. Once we start getting in the preseason games and things slow down just a little bit, really not concerned about him getting injured as much as excited about what he can bring to our defense.
And what about Eric? I mean, how valuable is camp for him at this point? Just because, I mean, like Jimmy he's been in the system for another season, so.
It is. It's valuable for everybody. Anyone who's missing reps right now are missing valuable time. So that part, I don't want to confuse that part. Even for Jimmy, like if you're not getting your practice reps, someone's going to pass you up. But at the same time, those guys are doing a great job in walkthrough and meetings and making sure that they're getting all their mental reps so that when they do come back, they don't skip a beat. But being on the football field and getting those reps are priceless, especially this time of the year where we can play with all that speed and violence and practice against one another. Because when the games start, it just starts slowing down just a little bit, and you can't replicate what the reps that you're able to get right now.
Saw you give Jimmy a couple of reps a few days ago at linebacker, dime back. Do you think he has some potential at that spot?
You know, to get him on the field as a coverage guy and dime and all that stuff, yeah, I mean, that could be a possibility. Really love our linebackers, too, with Fred, Malcolm, Brock, all those guys, Elijah. I'm sure I forgot somebody, but they're all very athletic, so they can all cover. But we're excited about what we've got in that back end and the different combinations that we can put, and Jimmy's one of them. So it still goes back to what we preach and what Kyle preaches every single day. The best 11 players will play no matter what, and that's what we're striving for. And so we're experimenting with different things all across the board to see the best way to deploy our best 11 so we can get off the field and get the ball back to our offense.
From a defensive standpoint, what makes Dante Pettis difficult, unorthodox to cover?
For Dante, he's from a receiver standpoint, you know, he's very. It's almost like a basketball player. I mean, he gets his feet in the ground, he gets outside his frame. It's like he's crossover dribbling all the time. So he's very dynamic, and the way his body moves and the athleticism that he has, where he gets you off your leverage. He can beat you with leverage, and he's dynamic and quick in that sense. So he's able to create separation because of his route running ability, and that's kind of what's gotten him where he is right now. So and I'm sure Kyle and those guys will tell you, he's still got so much to learn about receiver play, especially in our offense. But I know everybody's excited about what he's capable of.
Robert, Pierre the other day said Kyle seemed a little less stressed this year, maybe just because he's not having to explain to everyone a new offense and everything. But just from your perspective, in his second year as a head coach, has he changed in any way? Whether he's less stressed or does different stuff?
I don't know if he was stressed. I don't know. He's very methodical, Kyle. He's always got his thoughts together, but he still has the same tenacity to me. I mean, that he had a year ago. He still expects great detail in the way everyone coaches and the way everyone plays, and I'm talking to the finest line. So that part has not changed. So if a player's noticed it, maybe it's a little bit more controlled in their eye. But from a coach's perspective, there's tremendous accountability going on from both player and coach. And so for me and our coaching staff and players, it really hasn't changed. It's the same. I mean, he's still the same. I mean, he's vicious when it comes to film work and all that. It's awesome because there's no stone left unturned with him.